I'm in the village of Arncliffe in the Yorkshire Dales, which is in northern England, and I'm waiting for a group to arrive, but I got the timing a bit wrong, so I've arrived really early, so I've got a few hours to spare. So while I've got time, I thought I'd show you something that I find extremely interesting. It's one of those places that it really does fit the saying, you can't see the wood for the trees. Or if English isn't your first language, you can't see the wood for the trees. It means that sometimes people focus on so many small details that they fail to see the overall situation or the big picture. And this is one of these. This is one of these occasions. You know, you can look at all the small clues which tells you about something, but it's the big picture which really tells you what it is. I'll turn around. So can you see the valley behind me, that one up there? That is the big picture. I'll put a map on your screen, 1 to 50,000, because it's easier to see the overall shape of things with a bigger scale map. Now, if you notice, most of the valleys, they go north-south. But that one up there, that doesn't. So all the other valleys in this area are going north-south, but Cowside Valley, that one there, it actually goes east-west, or virtually east-west. So I find that extremely interesting, and I'm sure you do as well, hopefully. Why does that valley going the opposite direction to all the other valleys in this area? So I thought we'd, while I've got a few hours, I really did get here. It's only 7 o'clock in the morning and they're not here till 10. Oh well. So let's go up to Cowside Valley and investigate why is that running in the opposite direction to all the other valleys. Let's go and have a look. I'm commuting to work. You can join me if you want. I'm walking along a track which is at least 800 years old. I'm on the Monk's Road from Arncliffe village upwards. It goes up to Clowder. The names of things in this area give you an insight into their history. As an example, Arncliffe, the village. Arncliffe is Anglo-Saxon. Arn, eagles, cliff equals cliff. So in the past, this area was famous for the number of eagles which sort of lived around here. So that's why it's called Arncliffe. Anyway, let's carry on. Oh, I'm walking along the Monk's Road, which follows the south side of Cowside Valley. To understand the name Monk's Road, you need to remember your school history lessons. Over 1,000 years ago, it'll start like that, over 1,000 years ago, the Vikings were constantly raiding the west coast of France. And to put a stop to this, the French king, Charles the Simple, he was the son of Louis the Stammerer. Kings in those days had really good names, didn't they? Anyway, King Charles signed a treaty with the leader of the Vikings, who was called Rollo, also known as Rollo the Walker, as he was too tall to ride the small Viking ponies. The treaty was signed, I think, in the year 911, and the Vikings were granted territory all around the mouth of the River Seine. This area became known as the land of the Northmen, or Normandy. Approximately 150 years later, in the year 1066, the descendants of those Vikings invaded England and took over. Oh, to say why and how they took over would take quite a few videos to explain. So today I'll just say they invaded and they took over. After the invasion, the boss of the Normans, Duke William, also known as William the Conqueror, after he took over England, started to give his friends vast areas of land. And in this area, the land was given to the Percy family. Later, during the 12th century, the Percys gave some of this land, you know, in this area to Fountains Abbey. And this track leads from here back to the Abbey, which is about approximately 25 miles northeast of here. And that's why it's called Monk's Road. I started to waffle there, didn't I? Anyway, let's get back to the valley. So let's stay focused on what. No more waffle today. No more. Let's stay focused on the valley, and I'll carry on, and we'll have another chat when I arrive at something even more interesting. So I've arrived on the south slope of the valley, and can you see those lumps on the hillside behind me? Hopefully you can. They tell us what happened here and why this valley is facing this way. This is Yorkshire Scar. Okay, go on then, since you asked, why is it called that? Well, I'll tell you. Yew is because yew trees grow on the cliffs in this area. In fact, before York was York, and even before the Romans arrived, the local Celtic tribe were called the Brigantes, and they called their settlement Uberacum. Uberos means yew tree, and acum means place of. So in the old Celtic language, York literally means the place where yew trees grow. You've learnt something today. Oh, then we have cougar. It comes from the Viking word kugi, which means a bowl or a hollow. In this area of the Yorkshire Dales, that's, how can I describe it? It's a narrow-sided, steep recess in a cliff. And finally, scar is from the Viking word, I think it's score, and that simply means a cliff. So Yorkshire Scar is the hollow in the steep cliff where yew trees grow. What was I saying? Oh yes, can you see those lumps on the hill there behind me? Hopefully you can. Honestly, if I start to waffle too much, just shout at your screen. I will hear you. Just stop the waffle and get on with it. What I'll do is I'll turn the camera around so you can see where I am. And hopefully you'll notice that apart from this south side of this valley here, all the other hills in this area are smooth. So I'm just, those lumps on this side of the valley, they're formed by glacial moraine. That's all the rocks and soil and other bits that were carried along inside the ice. It's dropped either when ice melts or it slows down. How amazing is that? Just those lumps on the side of the hill. So in this valley, the ice didn't flow down the valley. It actually went across it and it slowed down there. This means that this valley, unlike all the others in this area, wasn't formed by the glaciers in the last ice age. It was already here when the ice arrived, about 115,000 years ago. And it was still here when the ice melted 12,000 years ago. So during the last ice age, the valley floor will have been filled with solid ice. And the ice sheet will have flowed across it. It will have dipped down here, gone up there and slowed down slightly. And that's why all those lumps are over there as the ice sheet continued southwards. And at the same time, the massive ice sheet in this area is responsible for scraping off the flat plateau to the south. Hawkswick Clouder it's called. Okay, since you asked. Hawkswick Clouder has nothing to do with birds. Hawkswick is hawk, which is just a Viking name. It's a family name. Okay, somebody called Hawk. Wick is an Anglo-Saxon word, week, and it means a dwelling or a dairy farm. Clouder, how do I describe clouder? Clouder is also Anglo-Saxon. It's from the word clot, meaning a mess or lumps. This evolved into the Middle English clotter, and this later became clutter, which is, you know, you might have heard of it. It's things lying around in heaps. In this area, the Yorkshire dialect didn't turn clutter into clotter it changed it into clouder. And in geography, it describes a cluttered upland limestone, which is, how can I say, it's characterized as, in geography, as a chaotic spread of limestone pavement and scree and boulders and erratics. So Hawkswick Clouder is Hawk's dairy farm on the limestone plateau. As you can tell, the history of this area can be discovered by etymology, geography and geology. As an example, since you asked, the river that, hopefully you can see it behind me, that river that runs down the valley is called Cowside Beck, from the Anglo-Saxon cw, which meant cow even in those days. Side doesn't mean, in this case, to the left or the right, you know, like it does now. It actually comes from the Viking word sæder, meaning a summer pasture. And beck is also from the Viking becker, so becker, beck, or Anglo-Saxon beck, you know, they both mean stream. So Cowside Beck actually is the stream next to the cattle's summer grazing pasture. Come on, let's stay focused. Can you see the rocks? Hopefully I'll turn the camera around slightly. Can you see the rocks in the valley floor? I don't know if you can. Hopefully you can now. They're actually going down the valley. Okay, and the reason for that is at the end of the ice age, the massive ice sheet melted, and the ice that was sitting at the bottom of the valley did start to flow eastwards before it merged with a much larger glacier moving southwards down Littondale over there. Okay, now I am positive that you find this valley just as amazing as I do. You know, next time you see a valley like this going in totally different direction to all the other valleys in the area, just remember there is always something interesting. You know, you just need to look and have a think. Why? It's really cold up here and windy up here. I don't know if you can see, but you do get used to this type of weather. You know, it's this is my working environment, but it is quite cold today. I'll teach you a trick. This works in the Himalayas, the Arctic, even in a supermarket car park, wherever the weather is making you sad. So, rain, fog, wind, drizzle, just general horrible weather. You get out of your car at the car park, you're going into the supermarket and it's making you feel sad. There is a way that all mountaineers, they do this, but they normally do it privately, because mountaineers are like that. They don't like to share these little tricks. What you do, so the wind is now, you can see with the clouds, the wind is coming from this direction. So what you do, imagine you face the wind in this case, because that's what's making me cold, or it could be rain or snow or hailstones or whatever. Face it and just say the word grr, which is G-R-R-R-R-R. You ready? Practice into this, towards the screen. Face whatever's making you sad. Grr. And it really will make you feel better. Now, some people might not believe that, may think that's just some idiot on YouTube spouting about something that is just rubbish. But I promise you, go out into some bad weather, or the next time you have bad weather, face the weather and just look at it. Give it a good stare and say, grr. And you will feel better. It's not gender specific. Anybody can do it and it'll work anywhere in the world. And I better get off this hill and go back and meet the group, because it took me about an hour and a half to walk up here, but hopefully it'll be quicker on the way down. We shall see. Thanks for watching.